Today we're going to be discussing the 5 stages of a story arc. Now, what the 5 stages are is they're the different areas in a story that usually in a movie or in a story, you'll have these different areas that show you the different points at which the story goes from the beginning to the middle down to the end. Now, in the introduction one, that's usually where you're meeting the characters and the setting is being set. So say in like the movie Twilight, this is the part where Bella is being all forlorn and kind of quiet, with her dad and Sherlock on the way to school. And then they're little tooting along, and you learn her, then you go to the school and you meet all the other students, and then she sees her Edward that she later on becomes obsessed with. So this is the point where in every story where the character introduced to the setting, where you get the idea of where the story is going to take place at. After you have met with the characters and you learn about them, you move on to the rising action, or the next stage of the story arc. In the rising action, this is where you have the things that lead up to the main action. You have the part where, say you want, in Twilight again, this is when Bella is starting to have her conversations with Edward. Talking with him, getting to know him. I want to learn about you, but you ran away from me because I stayed to you. This part happens here in the rising action. Now, also in the rising action, you start to see the conflict a little bit as it's starting to build up. You start to get an idea of what's going wrong or what is becoming a problem within the story. Every story, the conflict can be different. It can be an inner conflict, such as the person with Bella. She viewed Edward as perfect. Everything about him, from his demeanor to his face and everything like that, and she saw herself as being inferior. So that was part of this conflict. But in that one, the conflict was that she wasn't part of his world. By this point, she started getting little clues that, something ain't right with you. All the dots ain't connecting. Can some of you give me an idea of what the conflict could have been in Twilight?
Him being a vampire?
She started noticing the things about him. Just something wasn't right there with him. He was really cold. I understand people are anemic. Nobody is that cold as that man was in that point. So she started noticing little things. He doesn't like to come out when it's really sunny. He was cold. And so she started noticing things that was going wrong. And people were starting to disappear. So that was more events that was leading up to the major conflict. So when we get up to here, in Twilight, when that major conflict started coming ahead, this is when Bella confronts Edward, saying, I know what you are. Because she's done the research, found out she's like, you're a vampire. And he's like, and what do we eat? And, she was like, you're not going to hurt me. And he's like, but what do we eat? I'm not afraid of you. This is part of that conflict that you have here. And then we have a secondary conflict coming in with other people that are disappearing. We have other players that are in the town. Another Covenant vampire that's not the Cullens. So they've started causing problems, and that is those events that's leading up to the main conflict. Because now we get to the next point, which is the high point, the climax. Bella and Edward at this point have a relationship. She's been introduced to his family. It's serious when you meet the family. She at this point was brought in to meet, like, hey, this is my boo. They start introducing themselves. He's like, okay, y'all are being weird. We're gonna go off by ourselves over here because y'all need to fix that. At the climax, we have Bella now, when they decide to go out and play baseball. That is the climax of the story, is when everything has come to head. It is the main action, the part that usually you're in the theater like, because that's usually the exciting part of the story. In this one, Bella has been targeted. The other vampires saw them playing baseball, And the main guy, James, got a whiff of her and noticed that she was human. And he became obsessed with her and wanted her. So Edward and Bella fled forts in an effort to hide her from James until the rest of the family could get a hold of him and possibly save her life. When Bella realizes, because she's tricked by James and letting him thinking that he has her mother, she goes off to a studio by herself, because that's safe. Ever. You know, I'm with the vampire boyfriend and his vampire brothers and sisters, but hey, I'm a human. I'm gonna run off to a studio by myself because that's off topic. So they go there and James ends up injuring her and bites her, which starts her turning. Edward shows up and fights James and almost kills him, but his family showed up like, no, you can't do that. You can't kill him. We got him. You got to save Bella. So we're going to go over here and we're going to kill this guy over here. When James is killed, that's the end of the climax. Then we have the following action. This is where the characters start to work to solve their problem. So now, Bella is starting to change into a vampire, and Edward has to make a decision. Okay, what are we going to do? I got to fix her. You know, he doesn't like, and his father's like, the only way you can save her is you got to suck the poison out of her. And, you know, Edward, I can't do it. I can't because I don't know if I can stop. You have to do it. So, Bella, at this point, when Edward saves her life, he sucks the poison out of her and he saves her. And then we get to the next point, which is how they wrap things up, which is the resolution. So, in the resolution, Bella is brought to the hospital where she is injured. And Edward tells her that in order to keep her safe, he needs to leave her. And so Bella freaks out and she makes the decision that she can't be without Edward. Edward can't be without him. So Edward's like, I won't leave you. I'm sorry. Calm down. I'm not going to leave you. You're my baby. He didn't say that, but that's still the same thing you get from here. So, in using Twilight, I've shown you the 5 stages of the story arc and how each part of it helps build and make a complete story that you get to go along on this journey with the characters.